Broadcasting from Watts Creative Studios and live on Grove Street FM. You're listening to Talk Local to Me, brought to you by the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
Hi, welcome to Talk Local to Me. This is Mike Norfield with Visiting Angels. Heather is out today as she is on her way to a concert. So we are sending her. I hope she has a good trip, but not too much fun because we didn't get to go with her. So, there's that, right? So just want to tell you about a few upcoming events with the CVABC. So July, let's see, that's already gone by. Today is the 31st, y'all. I'm trying to work in the past here. We've got if you're interested in being a delegate with the CVABC, our group of volunteers that helps organize events and volunteers at different events and throughout the year to kind of give ideas for new things for the CVABC. There is a delegate information meeting August 20th at 11 o'clock, and that is going to be at the CVABC offices. You can go to cvabc.org and register for that if you'd like. And then we also have Battle of the Bands coming up in August, and in September we have Centerfest. So those are always great events, taking over the whole town of Bedford there and blocking off streets and having vendors and bands and a good time. So if you're interested in those, you can go to cvabc.org, or you can even email Heather at cvabc.org. Or if you just like to send Heather a message and be like, hey, missed you on the podcast today, but it was really cool just hearing Mike and not having to hear you, you can send her an email and tell her, hey, you're doing a great job not being there. Heather at cvabc.org. So give her a hard time today. So I can do that because she's not here, right? Right. So I've got Barbara with me in the studio today. She's with, say it for me. REGECO. I knew I was going to say it wrong. No matter what I did, it was going to come out wrong. So tell me what REGECO builders, what they do and how long they've been around and different things like that.
So we've been around since 2001. And we started as painting contractors because I have a family. I come from that side of the world.
I got you.
Contracting. 2 uncles, 2 brothers, all contractors. And I, of course, learned how to paint by the time I was 6, just because I had to be in the middle of it all.
Right.
And I love construction, and I always knew that was going to be my path. But we started painting in 2001, and we have grown from there to become general contractors. Weathered the financial crisis of 2009 and just kept going. And we've really never slowed down. A lot of people haven't heard of us, but we never really advertised a lot because it was mostly word of mouth, and we just have stayed busy. But we love what we do.
And we talked a little bit before we came on the air, and we talked a little bit about quality over quantity, kind of like keeping it small and manageable and being able to serve your clients and your customers to the best of your ability. So what kind of things do you do? I'm looking at your website here, and I'd see you do basement remodels. You even did the Airy store at the River Ridge Mall. It looks fantastic. I love that green. I'm going to have to maybe paint my office, change that color out a little bit.
That was my favorite color to paint so far in the last 4 years.
Yeah, it looks nice. It's sharp. So, and then of course you do like whole home makeovers. And then we talked a little bit before we came on the air too about you also do bathroom remodels as well. So
we do.
I know there's a high demand in our area. So if you don't know me, I'm Mike. I work with Visiting Angels, one of the owners and the director, marketing manager, janitor, whatever I need to be that day. So we've had we see a lot of homes where we go in and they're like, this bathroom's just too hard to navigate, things like that. So it's great for us to have a resource because trying to find someone to do a bathroom remodel right now, everybody is so busy.
That's true.
We were talking about how hard it is to get employees in the trades and get good employees in the trades, and just how it's you said, I think you told me that like you're a few months out for kind of new clients and customers just because of the demand that's there.
We are. We're scheduling about 2 or 3 months in advance, but emergencies, we always try to fit in.
Right.
You can call us on a Saturday night at 2:00 in the morning if there's a downpour and your kitchen is a flood.
Oh no!
We'll come and patch your roof. We'll fix a broken faucet. If there's something that's a true emergency, we will come, and we don't charge. That's something that we find. We don't want to charge our customers ridiculous money, and we've seen in the trades where a lot of people charge $250 an hour to come out on a weekend.
Right.
And We just out to make a living, not a killing. So,
Right. Oh, I like that. I'm going to steal that. About to make a living, not a killing.
not a killing. So we just want to treat our community right and be beneficial to them and do the best we can to serve our community in the ways that's needed.
Yeah. Awesome. So you said you guys have been around since 2001?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. And so you made it through the financial crash of 2009. You made it through the thing a few years ago. We won't call it by name in case it comes back. And different things like that. And I think it really shows that your business has stood the test of time and managed to keep going and keep a good reputation, things like that. So,
well, it is our name. We started as SL Register Contracting, which is my husband's initials and name. And then we changed as our doing business as to REGECO Builders a couple years ago because I couldn't fit SL Register Contracting LLC on a billboard and make it make sense.
On a billboard, on a business card, and an email address, like
so long.
Yeah.
And I said, we got to do something shorter that makes sense that people can remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, our name is on everything we do. And so that matters. We want our reputation to stand the test of time.
So I have a bunch of funny sayings that I say. And one of them is the only thing you can't buy more of is reputation. So,
I love that.
You like that? So
I do.
I used to work in a manufacturing plant and they had a sign on the wall and I liked it so much I stole it and stuck it in my area and they were looking for the sign. I'm like, it's over here. But yeah, it's a great thing because, really at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If you have a job and you might, so I always say with our clients, we don't make money on every shift with every client, but we want to make sure that we're showing up when we're supposed to show up. We want to make sure we're doing a good job, things like that. So sometimes if we have to have a caregiver fill in and it's a little farther from them than they might want to drive, we'll give them a gas card, things like that. So we may not make money on that shift or, things like that, but it keeps our reputation intact because it's the only thing you can't. I mean, I've looked on Amazon, they don't sell reputation.
They
so
don't.
You've kind of got
to everything else.
Right. And when your name's on it, it's important that it's right.
That's right.
So
That's right.
Awesome. So tell me about do you just do smaller jobs? Will you take on bigger projects, things like that? Like kind of what's the sweet spot?
We do remodeling. We try not to get into structural, like if somebody wants to add a whole addition, but
right.
But the contracting world is small. And
right.
So we all kind of know each other in the area. And when we have a project that someone will come to us and say, hey, we need you to do this. We like you. We like your company. We've partnered with other people. And if it's something we know is outside of what we're capable of doing or have the time to do and the time frame to serve that client, we'll refer them to people that we know are time tested. So I think that's really important that we do work with a lot of different companies, a lot of them that are part of CVABC. And that's what I love about CVABC is it's just that networking and you get to know a lot of different people and you just keep using each other and it's just awesome.
It is. So I talk all the time about how we have, I actually had the Visiting Angels in Roanoke because we're all part of the same network, but we're all individually owned and operated. And they actually called me the other day and they were like, what do you do for on-call? They had a staff change in their office and the person who made a lot of decisions about how they handle on-call and after-hours calls and things like that is the one that left. So they were trying to figure out, have we been doing it the best way or is there a new way to do it? And I love to share ideas because whenever I share an idea, I always get something back and it's like, ooh, or I hear myself give somebody advice about something and be like, I don't even do that in my own office. Like I need to do that. Sometimes you hear ideas as they come out, like for the first time, you're like, oh, that's a great idea. I should probably do that. And so we used the Answer Network that's a CVABC member for our on-call services, and they're fantastic. So we can have somebody call us, if they're calling looking for care on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday, and they can actually send them our information packet directly from that. So, and we used to use a national carrier for that, and we pay probably about 30% of what we did to that national carrier that was recommended to us by the corporate office for Visiting Angels. So a lot of times there's benefits more than just, hey, I know who I'm dealing with. I could call them up and say, hey, I've got a problem. Can you help me fix it? But also, a lot of times locally, you've got people that are trying to make a living, but they're not trying to make a killing. I'm going to say that all day today. You've got that kind of mentality where they're really here to really working with friends and acquaintances in the community. They're not necessarily just trying to go out there and get everybody they can as a customer. So, CVABC is a great source for that. And of course, knowing, so our businesses are really, really similar for some of the things I've heard. So we have people that call us and they may use Medicaid, which we don't operate with Medicaid, things like that. But they may be looking for something that we're not quite the right fit, and being able to refer them out to either home health or hospice or, for the physical therapy, occupational therapy, all that, or being able to supplement and have both services in the home because Medicare will actually pay for a lot of the home health services, things like that, where we're considered personal care services. So,
we're all in. Everyone you network with, you're
yeah,
all in the same game, and that's to help the community. And
right.
really, that's what construction's all about.
Yeah.
It's people who need something done who can't do it themselves, and we're all about helping them.
Right.
So it's great to network with people with the same mindset.
It is. And there are some people out there that have no business trying to fix things in their own home.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
in
There's
some. Yeah. And I think it was 2011. I bought a house that was almost falling down around us, kind of thing, and we redid the whole thing ourselves. We worked on it for 2 years before we could live in it full time. So,
wow.
It was
Never again.
an adventure.
Right?
Had a baby in, but like right before so Dylan, who is now 21, so it was more than 2011, but he's now 21. But I remember, like, we had the first room that we finished was the boys' room, so that we could do that. And boy, it was a mess. And then we set up a playpen, put Dylan in the playpen, and we would work on the rest of the house. And I think we did that every day after work for almost 2 years before we got everything done and we could move in and everything was finished. And I think when I moved out and sold that house, I still had projects that weren't done. If it would have been so much easier to have someone that comes in, knows what they're doing, it would have taken them probably a fourth of the time and probably not as much materials and tools and things like that we had to buy. But at least I have a cool tool collection now, right? So
that is right.
Right.
You can never have enough tools.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about having an expert come in and do something, because you've got all these codes and different things like that, quite frankly, they change.
Oh, they change a lot.
They do, and keeping up with those as a average citizen can be challenging. And you can do something, and if it's something that they have to have an inspector come in and look at, like, chances are you're going to do it more than once, right?
It's a lot of fun to see. I'm connected with a lot of realtors too, and they'll call me and say, you would not believe what this person's trying to sell their house, and it's got no handrails, and it's got this, and it's got that. Can you come fix it?
Right.
Because people will just do things and then not realize when they go to sell the house, those things have to be corrected.
Right.
So honestly, I will tell everybody that's listening that if you go to my website, www.regecobuilders.com, if you have a question, send it to me, because advice is always free.
Yep, that's very true.
And I don't mind giving advice. I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I do know a little bit.
Right.
About a little bit.
Yeah, I always tell people, if they call me and I don't know the answer, we probably should know the answer, first of all. And second of all, I can find out the answer for you, because if I need to know it, then I'm going to look it up once. I'm probably going to use it over and over and over.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
I know a lot of people.
Exactly. So you guys do painting, flooring. I'm just looking at your website, and their website, by the way, is REGECO builders.com, just in case you were trying to figure out how to spell REGECO. So you guys do roofing, flooring, painting,
trim.
Cabinets. Let me tell you, when I did my house, trim was the hardest thing. There were a lot of things that didn't look quite right, because I was like, I'm just going to cut these and put them flat against each other. Trying to figure out these angles is impossible. Things like that. So, and the work on here on your website, some of the pictures and things just look amazing. So
thank you.
Yeah. And so if somebody, let's take a real life example here. Let's say that my parents were looking to transfer a bathroom, and they, have the traditional bathroom with the tub, the toilet, sink. It's that traditional pink tile that we find in all the houses that were built in 1950s in this area.
Beautiful.
I grew up in a house that had a pink bathroom, and when my parents bought a house and moved, they only moved 2 miles away. It also had the pink tile bathroom. So to us, that's kind of a traditional thing. But let's say that they were interested in learning or getting that changed over and making it handicap accessible with a walk-in shower and a little bit more space, moving a wall, things like that. What's that process look like?
The process is, we'll come in, we'll talk over what you want to do, what your vision is. It's kind of what our motto is. It's your vision, it's our expertise. We're going to find out what your price point is, because some people don't have $25,000 to spend, and some people want to spend $25,000 on a bathroom. So that really matters in how we're going to help you design your bathroom. If they don't have enough money to do A, B, and C, and D, we're just going to show them how to do A, B, and C and still reach that goal, that vision for the least amount of money possible. And, we're okay doing different levels of different finishes. We can offer all kinds of different things, but we'll come up with that idea with you sitting down, and then we'll give you a proposal. And if you tell me, hey, give me 3 options, I'll give you 3 proposals.
Right.
So you can choose. It's really tailored to whatever you want for your space, because it's your home. You got to look at it every
Yeah.
day.
That's where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks good from my house.
And a lot of times when people go in, so like if I was to go in and say, hey, I wanted to redo a bathroom, I would have no idea like what kind of finishes I wanted, like what my price points were, anything like that. So, I mean, you can go everything from like real marble, and it can be really pricey and things like that, all the way down to, basic things that are going to last a long time. Right.
Things like that.
So you've got lots of levels from that. And then, of course, you've got like your walk-in roll-in shower all the way to where there's a lip.
It's tiled
there's a
versus a pre-made pan that you put in. There's so many different options. To me, it's second nature, but to someone that's never done it, you're looking at all your options going, wow. So I try to listen to what you want to do, and then I make the plan around that, so that I don't overwhelm you with options.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people that call us for care, and they're like, I've never done this before. I'm just very overwhelmed. And I always tell them, hey, good news. We do this every day. We can guide you through it, right?
That's
so
right.
You don't have to try and figure out all the things. We're going to tell you these are the puzzle pieces that need to happen to go together. And once we get that straight, then we can help them. And it's the same thing with construction, literally with puzzle pieces, matching the floor with the walls and what kind of paint do you want? And what kind of paint not to put in bathrooms, things like that, because you want to make sure you've got like something that's going to hold up to the moisture. And it cracks me up when I see when my parents bought their house there, and now one of the bathrooms had toilet paper. Yeah, it had toilet paper in it. It also had wallpaper in it. And I was like, how did this wallpaper hold up with moisture? And it just seemed like a disaster waiting to happen to me, but it's held up. So I guess it's a certain kind of.
Well, if it's vinyl coated, it's almost waterproof.
Yeah, I guess so. So
yeah,
I don't know if it is,
you learn.
but like I said, you do this every day. So I'm just making stuff up as I go along. Don't tell anybody that I do this podcast, just making stuff up as I go along. So
I did work in the field for years and years and years, and I've just gotten to the age that I'm not doing that anymore.
Right.
So when I do talk about my experiences, because I've actually installed tile in bathrooms and cabinets and roof. Oh my God, I installed 2 roofs. That was too many.
Yeah.
I didn't ever want to do roofing again.
Yeah, that's not something I would want to do.
We do hire that out.
Yeah.
But I have great people for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if somebody wanted to learn how to do this, they would just reach out to you and kind of get some basic information. Sure. You'd come out, give them an estimate, see what they wanted to do.
Absolutely.
And then about how long does the process take to kind of finalize all that? Not talking the start time, because I know that especially in construction right now, everything's got kind of a long lead time on it, things like that.
Oh, summer's always
order
awful.
Things and all that.
Summer's always busy.
Yeah.
Because you're home more, and you're inside because it's 190 degrees outside. So you're in your air conditioning, looking around, going, I got to change that, and I want to fix that. You do that more.
Right.
But yeah, the process from start to finish, depending on how quickly we can get to you, walk through your vision, get the estimate back, that usually takes about a week to 2 weeks.
Okay. That's not bad at all.
And then if we decide and agree to go in a certain direction, then we get you lined up on the schedule. And some jobs are small, some jobs are big, and I always build float in my schedule so that we can fit in the smaller jobs in between the bigger jobs.
Right.
It's pretty flexible though. So, it could be anywhere from a month to 3 months. If we get really busy, I've scheduled as far out as 6 months. But like I said, we like to try and stay small. We don't want to be crazy busy. We just want to be steady.
Right. Like you said, you want to make a living, not a killing.
I'm a living, not a killing.
Let's say that all day today. That makes me so happy. So, so you're looking at like somewhere between a couple of weeks to get the estimate and everything, and the kind of the dream and the vision built out. And then to actually do the build, like 3 to 6 months, we'll just say, which sounds like a long time when you're doing it. But when you're making a major transition in your home, it kind of gives you, it also kind of gives you that time to think like, I really wanted to do this, but now that I'm like looking at it and how it would be laid out, I think, maybe something would be better, something different. It gives you time to look at it. And when you look at how long people stay in houses, because, I don't plan on ever moving. Because the first time when we moved in 2021, I was like, this is the last time I move. I'm not doing this again. This is a mess. So I still have boxes. I don't know where they are. So, so I don't ever want to do that again. So you're going to stay in that home a long time, typically. And a lot of my clients, they're going to stay in that home for as long as they can, whether that's to the end of their life or whether that's until they go to a facility or something like that, or move in with family, things like that happen.
True.
But they're not looking to move either. So when you're making a big change to your home, like 6 months is not a long time to go through all that. So,
I mean, I'll give you a personal example. I'm in my middle age. We'll just call it middle age.
early 30s, early
Aw,
30s, right?
You're my new best friend. I wish. But my heart's still there, but the rest not so
Right.
much. But we're remodeling our master bathroom in our own house, which let me tell you, it's fun to do it all day and then go home and do it more.
Right.
It's always fun.
Especially when you're not getting paid to do your own stuff. That
Not
just
getting
costs you
paid
money.
to do my own stuff.
Right.
But we looked at the shower, and I was looking at my husband going, we really should be building a seat in the shower
Right.
now, because we're going to tile it all, because 20 years from now, we're going to need that seat. And I'm not ripping out the bathroom to redo it in 20 years, because we're
Right.
not going to feel like it in 20 years.
Right.
So we look ahead. That's part of the discussion.
Yeah.
Is looking ahead. How long do you plan on being here? Exactly like you said. And we just kind of make sure that we plan ahead for that.
Right.
For you.
Okay. Yeah. And so when my wife and I bought the house that we live in now, we looked at 24 houses before we bought this one. Because with the work I do, I see people all the time that get trapped by 2 or 3 stairs up to where there's a bathroom or the kitchen or something like that. And so I wanted to make sure that if everything on the one level that we could operate as a household, we've got laundry on the main level, there's only one step to get in, technically 2, but there's one step. So 2 steps, to get into the house, either through the garage area or through the front door. And all the bathroom's big enough for more than one person. So if you need assistance taking a shower or something like that, you've got room to get in there. And also all the doorways are wide enough for wheelchairs and things like that, because, I used to tell people I feel like I'm 23, but then I realized that's half my actual age. So now I have to change that number. So now I feel 25, because then I've got 2 years to, 4 years to hold on to that. But, I'm only, mid 40s, but, 20 years isn't that far down the road. I don't want to have to move again.
Have you noticed the older you get, the faster time flies?
Yes. Yes. I also noticed that it used to be like I could go and ride my bike and fall off of it, get up, get back on as a kid, and I was perfectly fine. Now, if my pillow's crooked on the bed, like I wake up and I can't walk. So, that old age has kind of snuck up on me in that aspect a little bit. So, so I'm going to ask you 2 questions we ask every guest. One is, how long have you been part of the Central Virginia Business Coalition?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Excellent. And what do you think is the greatest benefit of being part of the CVABC?
I think the networking, like I said earlier, I think the networking is my favorite thing about it.
Yeah.
But getting to know all the people and contact with businesses, the coffee talks and things where you meet people that you never knew their business existed.
Right.
And then they're just such a great resource for you that you put their phone in your favorites list.
Right. So, and I love that it's such a diverse group of businesses, because we have everything from like the on-call answering service and phone answering services, things like that, to home care like myself, to construction, to coffee shops and bakeries. And even my wife's a member, and she's a home baker. So she does, custom orders for people and things like that. And one of my favorite things is that, so she's a baker, and then we have like Sweet Indulgence and quite a few others that do baked goods and things like that. They're not competition. Like, they talk to each other and give each other ideas and things like that. So
exactly.
My wife got some advice from Ashley Beasley from Sweet Indulgence Bakery, because she was like, my cakes keep coming out and they're a little drier than I want. She's like, here's the secret. Here's the ingredient you need to put in, because you need more fat. My wife was like, well, I was putting Greek yogurt in, and so it's like the protein in the dairy, all that. And she was like, yeah, but there's no fat in it. And my wife, over the last 2 years, has lost like 160 pounds. So like we eat completely differently than what we do. Yeah. Then she started a bakery business. So, and her stuff is delicious, because if she's going to eat it, it better be right. Right. So, so she was like trying to avoid fat and things like that. She only puts things into her cook. They're not loaded down with a lot of sugar, things like that. It's just that she wants the flavor of the ingredients to come through. And when she was like, well, there's no fat in it, she was like, oh, I've got to change my mindset for that. Like, that's something, like a cake should have fat in it. Right.
Yeah.
I don't want a non-fat cake. So I want full fat, full sugar, all that stuff. So, but getting ideas and things like that, and being able to talk to other business owners who are may have a little bit more experience in this over that and things like that, and being able to collaborate is a great thing. So my favorite word that was actually created on the podcast here, co-opetition. We are not competitors. We are working together to serve our community. So I have a lot of people that I work with that do the same thing I do. We talk weekly because we are here to serve our community. We're not in direct competition with each other. We're really
exactly. We're a team. We're a huge extended family team.
Yes, and so my phone ring too, so you don't have to feel bad. But it's a huge group of people that are working to serve their community, and really what one of my competitors and I are competing against is the objection to our services. So people who are, I don't need help. I don't want help. I don't want someone in my home. That's our real competition, right? So getting someone who can get in the home and be able to take care of them and be able for them to stay in their home is our goal. So we work together instead of against each other, and it works so much better because we have a couple competitors out there who are true competitors because they don't want to work with us, right? It's so much harder to work against someone than it is with someone. So
that's like me working against unlicensed contractors,
right.
Trying to explain to a customer, you need to check their license, you need to check their insurance, and they need to provide you an up-to-date copy of it.
Yep.
That's something we.
And if you're going to hire somebody, so I'm going to switch to Heather real quick. So she'll talk all the time about her dad. Uncle Joe down the street or cousin Joe down the street, get them to do it, and they don't pull the permits like they're supposed to. They don't do the work like they're supposed to, and then when they're done, you don't have any recourse against them because they didn't do the things they were supposed to do. But you don't have the right contract. You don't have you shouldn't have an agreement written on a napkin, right? So
I've had to testify in 2 court cases in the last 14 months against people who were quote unquote contractors and completely destroyed somebody's house.
Yeah.
And we had to go in and fix it and charge them as little as we could, but we still had material costs.
Right. Material costs and labor costs. And
but we had to fix it. And then we had to go to court and testify against these people that it's sad, and so I get what you're saying. They're not my competition in my case for this, for construction, but they are still a type of competition that we are trying to say, hey, you guys wake up, realize this is not a good idea.
And this is your home. This is probably the biggest investment.
Better always.
This is probably the biggest investment you're going to make in your lifetime, right? So why are you going to try to cut corners? It's one thing if you decide instead of going to the salon and paying however much it costs to get your hair done. Obviously, I don't dye my hair because I don't have enough to dye. But there's a big difference in that cost and then like a box color from Walmart, right? But sometimes people can do a box color from Walmart and it looks just like they came out of a salon. Well, maybe not just like, but it looks great and it looks just like,
But it fries
it's very
your
comparative,
hair.
right?
It fries your hair compared to going to the hairdresser.
Right. Right.
So that's the difference.
But that's one thing compared to like the house you live in that is a huge investment. Most mortgages are 30 years. So, I mean, that's not a small amount of time. So I wish I was 30 years younger. That'd be great. Actually, no, I'd be 16, maybe 20 years.
But you just
I'll go 20 years. I did. I'm 46. So, and I'm proud of it. So I'm going to be a grandpa in September. So yeah, I'm excited.
I've been a grandma for 13 years.
That's exciting. So it's great. Heather's became a grandparent before I did. So she's older than I am, even though she's younger than I am.
Oh, okay.
I got to talk smack about Heather today because she's not here. But yeah, so give us good contact information for you again if somebody wants to reach out and get like a quote or maybe have a project idea and want to see if it's a good fit for what you guys do.
So it's REGECO Builders. My last name is Register. That's where the REGECO came from. It's www.REGECO Builders, all run together.com. And our main line is 434-485-9068. You can call, you can text, and reach us anytime. I'll be the one answering the phone. Like I said, we're a small outfit, so you'll reach me just about every single time.
Sounds great. So, Barbara, thank you for coming on today. We appreciate you coming in and
fun. Thank you.
Fighting your nerves. And it always cracks me up when people come on for the first time. They're like, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, why? I'm not. Like, we're just going to talk across the table and ignore the millions of people listening. Right?
Millions.
So,
oh boy.
We're going to take a little break and listen to a great commercial read by a great host for a great company because I read the commercial and it's for Visiting Angels. So we're going to hear from Visiting Angels and we'll be right back after these messages. Visiting Angels, America's Choice in Home Care, is now serving Lynchburg and the surrounding counties from their new location at 2201 Linghorn Road, providing our community with personal care services, including assistance with bathing, dressing, meal preparation, grocery shopping, light housekeeping, and much more. Our trained staff have to pass all of our requirements for a high standard of care, ensuring that you have a compassionate, kind, and qualified caregiver. Our office team works with you as a partner in providing care for you or your family member to make the task of starting and continuing care an easier process. At Visiting Angels, we understand that every individual is different. That's why our team of dedicated caregivers is committed to providing tailored assistance to make you happier and healthier at home. Call 434-439-4698 to learn more about our services and schedule a free in-home, no-obligation consultation. Trust Visiting Angels in Lynchburg to bring peace of mind to you and your loved ones.
America's choice in home care.
Welcome back. If you like that awesome commercial read by an awesome host with for an awesome company, and you thought, man, I wish my company could do that, you can. So it's just $100 a month. You can have your commercial played at the halfway point of our show. And the great thing about that commercial is it doesn't just show up on the live episode that we're recording right now, but it also shows up when people go back and listen again. So as I know, a lot of people like to go back and maybe they can't quite make the live broadcast and they like to go listen to it later. They still hear that commercial. It's a very affordable way to promote your business. And personally, I think a great way to reach people in kind of an unusual way, because you don't really think when you think local advertising of like a podcast that goes out for all over the place. And here's the train. Thank you, train. Okay. If you are interested in having your business featured on that ad spot, it's like I said, it's just $100 a month, nice and affordable. It's a great deal if you have a month that has 5 weeks in it, because we're going to give you that extra week for free, complimentary. If you're interested in that, you can reach out to heather@cvabc.org, and please start your email with how awesome the show is with just Mike, and then ask her about the advertising opportunity for the podcast. So we're going to switch directions today, and we're going to talk to Linda Brake from Bedford Ride. There's no S on it, so if I say that, ignore that. So Linda, tell us a little bit about Bedford Ride and what you guys are doing and what you've got going on, things like that.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you.
Yeah. We're a nonprofit organization that provides non-emergency medical transportation for older adults and persons with disabilities that live in Bedford County in the town of Bedford. And we're getting ready to turn 23 years old.
Wow.
Yes. So our program came about because people were using the emergency room for medical care, and 2 health needs assessments that were done back in the late 90s pinpointed that transportation was one of the biggest issues for our county and town. And from there, Bedford Ride was formed to keep people living in their homes and being able to access medical care.
Awesome. So you say it's not emergency, so it's for regular doctor visits that can kind of be scheduled and kind of have a little notice. So this isn't like, hey, it's not like a taxi or a cab where you're like, or Uber or Lyft or whatever, where you're like, hey, I need to go somewhere today. This is something that needs to be scheduled in advance.
Correct.
Okay.
And there is a registration process, and we're part of the Central Virginia Alliance for Community Living.
Great organization.
It is. We're the transportation program for Bedford County.
Awesome.
And there is registration, so someone would call, and then we do the referral if they're 60 and over to our agency in Lynchburg, and then a care manager will contact them and then go through their with the assessment, because there may be some other services that
might be a better fit, or
exactly, like home delivered meals and things like that. So but it is a wonderful program, and all of our drivers are vetted volunteers. So there's only 2 staff with their program.
That's awesome.
It is, and we have the most generous volunteers, and they drive people. We take them to Roanoke, Lynchburg, Salem, even out to Westlake.
Yeah.
And of course, in town. We have a lot of in-town rides. But if you can just think of not being able to drive and being at home, and this just happened not too long ago. A lady called in and she had a terrible toothache, and she didn't drive, and she was a registered client.
Yeah.
And she called in on a Wednesday and she said, my dentist can see me Friday. She said, I have a horrible toothache. and we were able to get her to the dentist. But can you imagine not having support for a ride
Yeah.
and being at home
Yeah.
with a throbbing tooth,
Yeah.
or even something worse,
Right.
and not being able to access medical care?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We've had clients in the, I guess, forest area that used Bedford Ride,
Mhm.
and it was great. And I didn't know about it until about 4 years ago.
Oh.
So or exactly how it worked, I should say. I kind of knew it was there, but things like that. But it was great because she got us for some home care, but before that, she had Bedford Ride, and it was great because she didn't have to worry about getting to doctor's appointments, things like that. And she goes, "All I have to do is call them and let them know, and they can get everything set up." And it was. I know it was a great resource for her. And of course, Visiting Angels provides some transportation services for their clients with in-home care, but that's usually when we're there during a shift, things like that. So she was able to keep that and kind of supplement, so that if she had a doctor's appointment and it was, she was already registered, things like that, then she was good to go with that. So it made it a lot easier for her because she didn't drive, and she hadn't driven for about 15 years. So
wow.
it can make it a challenge, and you don't realize, it's kind of like when the power goes out. You don't realize how easy it is to get in your car and go somewhere
Yes.
until you can't do it. So we live in a neighborhood. Our power likes to go out on a weekly basis. Not really, but it feels like it. And so when the power goes out, like, I'm still walking into rooms and trying light switches, and like, you don't even think about it, right? It's just that second nature. You just assume it's there. So for somebody who's been independent, being able to drive, and then now they're, either they can't drive or it's not safe for them to drive, things like that. Or even trying to get to Salem for a doctor's appointment, things like that. Or even Lynchburg from Bedford can be quite the adventure. So every Wednesday I drive down 221 and come to Lynchburg, and sometimes it takes me 20 minutes and sometimes it takes me 45. It just depends on how slow the dump truck wants to go that day, right?
Oh,
So
exactly.
yeah, so
Exactly. And some of our older individuals aren't comfortable driving
right,
in city traffic,
right,
so to speak.
right.
They're comfortable driving local, but going to Roanoke or Lynchburg, it's a bit challenging for them, and they don't feel safe driving and navigating through traffic.
Yeah. And especially if they're going to a doctor's visit or something like that, especially if it's like a dentist or an eye doctor, like, if you've gotten pain medication at the dentist, or they've dilated your eyes, or done something to your eyes, sometimes it's hard to be able to see and safely get home.
Well,
And
you shouldn't be driving if your eyes are dilated.
no, I know, but I'm just saying, those things especially.
I
So,
know.
or if they're in pain or sick, like even that. So it's a great program. And so I know if somebody's listening and they wanted to volunteer and be a driver with the organization, which sounds like it could be a very entertaining volunteer opportunity, because you've got, most people don't ride in silence. So you're going to be able to make connections with people and
Oh, absolutely. And
hear a lot of good stories.
it's more than just a ride,
Yeah.
because most of the individuals that we serve live alone, and so they welcome a smiling volunteer. And of course, all of our volunteers sign a confidentiality
Right.
statement.
That wonderful HIPAA
Yeah,
kind of deal.
Yeah, because you know, that way somebody's not going to be talking about their business,
Right.
because we don't do that.
Right.
But it's comforting, especially for elderly, um, trying to go to, we'll just say, Carilion, Riverside, where it's multiple buildings, and
Right.
trying to get into the right doctor's office.
And being able to get parking that's close enough to be able to safely get into the building can be
Yes.
a huge thing. So,
And our vans are
handicap accessible.
yes, they are. And of course, we have the handicap tags, and also we transport folks that are in a wheelchair or using a walker or cane, so forth. So there's no barriers for them to
That's fantastic.
access.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realize how hard it can be for someone who is, especially in a wheelchair, to be able to get into certain buildings and find parking that's close. And even if you can find parking, so we have in our office complex, the handicap spots are right outside our office. Okay, so people love to come in the spaces the lines are kind of faded, so you can't always tell. That's not defending the people that park there, just saying that sometimes they don't realize and they park there. And then we get people in our office all the time. Do you know whose car this is? Because like it's a handicap spot and they don't have a tag up, and I need to be able to park there. And it can be a challenge for being able to have or even just having the room to get out of the car sometimes is a challenge. That's why those handicap spaces are designed. They're a little wider. They've got the
Exactly.
hatched off, cross-hatched areas next to them, things like that. So, but a lot of times you don't realize how hard it is for someone to get around and get out from a vehicle into a doctor's office or something like that.
Things that we take for granted
right?
daily.
Or just being unsteady because they've got the driver there to, make sure that they get out the car safely and things like that. So now when somebody uses Bedford Ride to go to a doctor's appointment, does the driver stay there with them or do they drop them off and come back? Or
They typically stay.
Okay.
But if they're going to run an errand that's in the vicinity of where the medical facility, they'll let them know.
I got you.
And they'll give them their cell phone number.
I got you.
Just in case.
So if you're going to like Roanoke or something like that, then it gives them, and they need to do something, then they're not leaving them for the day. They're just kind of stepping up for a little bit. Okay.
And like a dialysis patient, we treat that as 2 rides because they're on dialysis for like 4 to 5 hours.
Right.
So we'll have a volunteer take them and then another volunteer bring them back.
Right.
Hence, we're really in need of more volunteers because we are getting a higher demand for services.
Right.
We only have so many volunteers and so many vehicles. So we're looking to bolster our volunteer base, and they're very flexible. You don't have to drive every week. Some are short runs, like dropping a patient off at dialysis, and some are longer, like taking a veteran to the Salem VA.
Right.
We do a lot of veteran transportation, and we're proud to serve them. But the more volunteers we have, the more service we can provide.
Right.
And we provide everything: the vehicle, the gas, and the insurance.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this isn't something where someone would have to use their car and put people they don't know in their car. They're using a vehicle that is set up and ready and able to handle the different challenges that people might have.
Exactly.
And they don't have to pay anything for gas. They don't have to pay for the insurance, anything like that. They're not putting anything of their own assets or vehicles at risk. It's all in Bedford Ride.
It's just their time
vehicles.
that they're donating.
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, it's very flexible. We have about 55 volunteers, but not all of them can drive every day or every week. They're retired.
Yeah.
They're involved in other things. They travel, and as what retired people do.
This is something that somebody could sign up and they could volunteer like once a month, twice a month, 2 times a week, 5 days a week, whatever they wanted. They can kind of pick their own commitment level.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And they let us know what their schedule is and what their availability is.
Yeah.
And then we have something to fill that.
Yeah. And if there's any veterans listening, what a great way to support veterans who need your assistance by being able to give them a ride. It doesn't cost you anything but your time, and you're able to support someone who was in the armed services with you and served, maybe a generation ahead of you. But what a great way to honor them and keep that brotherhood going. You know what I mean?
Now, I know you remember Monique
Mhm.
Minnick.
Yeah.
And she's now in Georgia. She was one of our volunteers, and she loved taking her vets to the VA.
Yeah.
And she was a retired colonel.
Oh, wow.
And it was, they would get to talking, and as soon as they found out she was a retired colonel, it was kind of, getting chauffeured to the VA
by a colonel. Yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
So what does your ideal volunteer look like?
And they're mid-20s, about 24 and up because of our insurance.
Right.
And a good driving record.
Right. Good with people.
Good with people.
A smiling face.
Enjoys driving.
Yeah.
And a clean criminal background.
Yep.
Of course, we have to do all the checks.
Right.
And be able to pass a drug test, a urine drug screening, which we pay for all that.
Okay, so there's no cost to sign up and be a volunteer, things like that. Okay. And so we and how many volunteers are you looking for right now?
As many as we can.
So like 10 to 15 in the next week.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Or more. I
right.
mean, the more that we have, the more service we can provide.
Right. So just trying to stress that if you're listening to this and you're like, this sounds like something I could do, but they probably don't need me. They do. Mm-hmm. They need you. So
always need.
If you're listening to this and you're like, man, that sounds like fun, but I don't know how much time I could give to it. We've just said that you could do it as little or as much as you want. And if you're not sure you want to do it or not, it's always great. You could do it and start with 1 day a week and then see like, yeah, this is for me, or no, not really. But even even helping just a little bit can make a huge difference in someone's life.
And what we do with someone coming on board as a volunteer, we have them go on a ride along with another seasoned volunteer.
Oh, so you even have like training.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's the you don't have to have the skills. We will train you as long as you're good with people. You got a clean background, clean driving record. They're gonna show you how to get them in the car, out the car, the kind of the right way to do things, just so that you're not just sent out in a vehicle like, here you go, figure it out, kind of thing, right?
Correct.
Right.
And
Okay.
there's a little bit of paperwork because we have ride sheets that we
Right.
document the odometer mileage and also the volunteers' time.
Yeah.
Because we track all that for the presidential awards that we get. We send to Washington through Points of Light.
Yeah.
For volunteers that volunteer over 100 hours, they get a medallion.
Oh, that's cool.
And
don't tell me there's an award because like
and a certificate
Okay.
signed by the president.
Nice. Nice.
And we just had our volunteer appreciation picnic, and that's when we give those out.
Oh, so there's a ceremony and an award.
Yes, we do a volunteer appreciation picnic every year to
That's nice.
celebrate our volunteers.
I love that.
We
love
just so appreciate them.
Yeah, because it's vital. Like you said, Bedford Ride only has two staff employees, right? And the rest is all volunteer. And you said you have 55 volunteers.
It's about 55.
It's a lot of people. That's a big cookout. That's a big picnic.
Well, we love doing it, and the more the merrier. And once people get in and see what we do, and how important it is for our folks to be able to remain living at home.
Right. I'm a big believer in that.
And there's no place like home.
There isn't. So it's great. And while there is no place like home, it's also important to have that socialization and be able to get out, especially to doctor's appointments and things like that. So our bodies are just like our cars, our houses, are everything. They need to have maintenance and they need to have checkups. And, we have a lot of our clients. So I'm going to read from the marketing material, Visiting Angels, a little bit from my head, because a lot of times we talk about how a little bit of care can go a long way. So when we've got someone coming in the home 2 or 3 times a week and they're seeing other people, we're able to kind of see if there's a decline, if there's a sudden change, if there's a health condition change, things like that. But we're also, that little bit of help goes a long way to help them stay at home longer. And Bedford Ride is just another key aspect of that, where if they can get out to the doctor's appointment, they're not trying to drive on their own when they probably shouldn't. They're, they don't have family members that have to take off work to go and take them and things like that. It helps so much more than the individual that you're helping. It kind of helps our community run smoother because, I think it's $13 billion a year is lost from family having to take off to take care of their family, right? That's a lot of money. 13 billion is a lot of money. I would love to have just 1 billion, right? So, but having that loss from the economy every year, it affects businesses, it affects income of households, it affects relationships of parents and their adult children, because we have a lot of sandwich generation where they have kids of their own and they're also helping mom and dad, and the kids are kind of caught in the middle, right? So we have a lot of that. It causes a lot of stress, anxiety, things like that. That's detrimental to even the children's health, the adult children. So being able to have this resource that will get them to the doctor, get them socialization. You've also kind of got that check of like, we take them somewhere once a month and they've been doing great. And then it took them twice as long to get to the car this month as it did last time. Maybe we need to get something checked out, or maybe we need to reach out to someone and see what's going on.
And with our parent agency, they have a care manager and they're assessed on an
even better.
Annually. But an older person, something can change within a year.
Right.
So they're assessed annually. So if one of our volunteers goes to pick somebody up and notices that they're not as ambulatory as they were before,
right.
I mean, they report that back to us at the office, so we can.
So you can follow up and.
Yes, we'll do a follow up. Our care will notify our agency, and the care manager will do a follow up with them, because a lot of folks live alone.
Yeah,
they may have children, but the children live out of the area or even out of state.
Or a lot of times we have families that we work with that the family member lives in town, but they have a busy schedule, right? They've got one kid in theater, one kid doing sports, and then they've got church and all the activities that go with that, and youth group and all those sort of things. And they're pulled in so many different directions just as parents that they don't have time to be kids and go and monitor mom and dad. And they're, our mailman stops in and he's pretty much helping take care of his parents every day after work. So he's worked a full-time job. He goes and he makes sure they have dinner, things like that, checks on them, and then he's going home. But like he says, he barely sees his wife because he's gone all day, right? So it can cause stress in their lives, and being able to have this resource and it's, I mean, it's just a great thing. I could talk all day about it, but
I understand.
yeah,
I've been with the program for over 20 years,
yeah,
and it's a beautiful program. It's neighbors helping neighbors,
yeah.
and it really enriches our community.
Yeah, and people don't work for places for 20 years much anymore, right? It used to be that you got one job and you stayed there forever. Now people change jobs, here and there, but for you to have been with the program for 20 years, and I know it's challenging work, right?
It is.
Anytime you're working with people, especially, and nothing against our senior population, but sometimes they don't understand, and they don't understand how things work. It takes a different level of patience to be able to explain to them what's going on and how things work, and especially when there's so many changes with technology and things like that. So it they do not live in the same world that they grew up in. I don't live in the same world I grew up in, and I'm, like I said, I'm only 46. Like things I remember VCR tapes and cassette tapes, right? But technology has progressed so much farther that even though there's Uber and Lyft and things like that, our senior clients don't know how to use that. If we ever have to use that for a client for something, we do it from the office and take care of that for them, because we know that they're not going to be able to handle that if they're not used to it. Now we have some clients. I had a 98-year-old client that I asked her. I went and talked to her one time about Karen. I was like, "How'd you find us?" She goes, "I Googled you," and I was like, "Really?" Like 98 years old and on Google and getting all her news from the internet and things like that, and going and looking up. She doesn't get a newspaper anymore. She's like, I can read on the internet for free. So, things like that. So there's always different levels, but it's a challenge to work with seniors, just because you have to be compassionate and caring. You can't, if I'm having a bad day and I didn't get enough sleep last night, I can't take that out on a client because they don't understand something. You've got to be compassionate no matter what. And so for you to have been with this program for 20 years, it not only says a lot about the program, it also says a lot about you and how you're built to really want to help the community. And I just love this program. Like I could just rant for days probably. But it's a great thing. And having clients that have used it in the past, I see the value and the benefit that they got from it. And it's a great thing. So, what a great way to give back to your community by volunteering as a driver, which is, most of the time we drive, we don't even think about it. We get in the car and go somewhere. Imagine if you couldn't do that, and how great it would be if let's say you broke your leg and you couldn't do it even for 6 weeks, just to have somebody that was able to take you to your doctor's visits and take you to different places, is such a benefit added and a value added to their life
Or
and to their quality of life.
joint replacement.
Joint replacement, because we see a lot of that.
Yeah, knee or hip, and you're not able to drive, and you need
Yeah.
physical therapy.
Yeah, that's a great thing too.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody is a participant with Bedford Ride, is it something where they register and they go through the process and then they stay with them for a long time? Or if somebody, like you said, for a joint replacement or something, and they wouldn't be able to drive, can they sign up for kind of a short term?
Absolutely.
Well?
Yes.
Okay.
We've had many individuals do that.
Okay.
They've just used us temporarily. We had a gentleman that had bypass and needed to go to cardiac rehab, and we took him to his rehab and until he was discharged, and able to drive again.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great thing too, because a lot of times it's not necessarily a decline or a long-term illness. It's something short-term, like a knee replacement or hip replacement. I have a friend who is a little bit older than me. He's retired, but he had one knee replaced in November and another done in February. And the doctor was like, people don't usually do it that quick. But he was one that was always like a go-getter and tough, and went to the gym all the time, things like that. But it really slowed him down, and especially back to back, because just about the time he got right with the right knee, he had the left knee done, and then it kind of set him back again, and it was a challenge for him to get out sometimes. So and he likes to go. He does karaoke 3 nights a week. He does, he's going to the movies every Monday. He goes to the movies. Like he is out, and he's like, I'm enjoying my retirement. Even if I don't go do fancy things, I'm going to go do something. Right. And we've got a great group that all hangs out, and we all kind of watch out for him, things like that.
Oh,
but it's
that's nice.
but yeah, it's a lot of fun. But even someone who is young at heart, and they may have the years on them, but they are still able to go. Something like a knee replacement, hip replacement, things like that can really set it back socially as well, like the social interaction, things like that, because that is so important. I know at Christmas, whenever I go to networking events, I don't talk about what Visiting Angels does. I talk about how important it is to reach out to the seniors in your life that may not have family or things like that, just to make sure that they're not alone at Christmas, right? Taking them a plate. If you can't invite them to your house and they can't get out, take them a plate, things like that. There's a lot of ways to be able to bring a lot of joy into somebody's life without a lot of effort. And being a volunteer with Bedford Ride is a great way to do that as well.
Volunteering is just the absolute best.
Yeah. And I love that it can be, even if it was just once a week. So, yeah, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. So how long has Bedford Ride been a part of the CVABC?
Oh, my goodness.
If Heather's here, she probably know right off the top of her
She
head, right?
probably would. It's more than 5 years.
More than 5. So we're going to say 7.5 years.
Okay.
We're just going to make something up,
Yes.
right? Nobody fact check this episode. I'm talking to you, Emma. So, and what do you think is the greatest benefit of being part of the CVABC?
The networking is absolutely the best, and also the podcast, being able to come and share our program with others.
Right. It's a great thing. So I can't wait for this episode to hit Facebook, because I'm going to share it on our Visiting Angels page, because I think it's a lot of mutual audience there, things like that, because it is such a great program, and not a lot of people know that it exists. And especially with Bedford being such a rural, spread out county, it's not like somebody lives a block away and can just go pick, a friend can go pick them up and take them, because we have a lot of that with our clients too. They have friends that come in and help and do certain things. And, a lot of times if they're a neighbor next door, that's easy. But if they live, like you said, Westlake, we have a client in Westlake, her closest family's in Roanoke. So for them to come in, it's, they're looking at a 45-minute drive in.
So our vehicles are stationed throughout the county.
Okay.
So if somebody from Forest is wanting to volunteer for that lives in the Forest area, we have vehicles stationed out in that area, because our county
it's big.
It's huge.
It's big. I cover the county too, so I know.
And we have them stationed on both sides of the lake, in the Manita side and the Huddleston
so
side.
That's a thing that we didn't talk about here.
And then in Bedford, in Thaxton, it's all shared out of our.
So if somebody wanted to volunteer and they lived in Forest, they wouldn't have to drive to Bedford to get a vehicle, get somebody and go. They can. It would keep them more local, so it's even less of a time commitment that they would have to give up. That's fantastic. So we should have talked about that at first. So next time you come on, we got to make sure we talk about that first. Yeah. So if you wanted to volunteer and you wanted to stay local, and you don't necessarily live in the town of Bedford, but you want to be able to help serve Bedford County residents, this is a great way to give back to your community. It's low commitment. And if you're not sure if you would like it, how can somebody reach out and find out more information about this program?
They can call me at 540-587-3215, or they can go to our website, bedfordride-cvacl.org. And there's a form if you're interested in volunteering to put your contact information, and then it shoots me an email, and then I contact them.
Okay, so if someone was even remotely interested in this, they could go fill out the form, send you the email. You could talk to them about it. And if they decide it's not a good fit, no harm, no foul.
Absolutely.
Things like that. So if listening to this interview, even once you went, oh, that's cool, call them, see what it's about, see if it's a good fit, because you never know until you do it. It's kind of like sushi. There are two kinds of people in the world. There are those who hate sushi and those who love sushi, and the ones who hate sushi, I'm convinced have never tried it. So, you never know really what the experience is like until you get more information on it. So it's a great way. And that was, the website again was bedford-cvacl.org. All right, perfect. I think I've touched on everything I had. You got anything else?
Well, I'll just add that we're independently funded, so we're 100% self-funded. And one of our biggest fundraisers, we're on the Smith Mountain Lake Charity Home Tour.
Okay. For
October 11th through the 13th, we're hosting the Graham Home, and we're very excited. This is our 3rd year on the home tour.
So I know people in the CVABC who have volunteered on the home tour, and it always sounds like a great thing. I'm going to try and make it this year because it sounds like a great event.
Oh, it certainly is. There's 8 homes on the tour, and there's some in Bedford County, and then some on the Franklin County side. So you can either go by boat or you can go by car.
Going by boat is always better.
Oh, it is. Especially if you have a chauffeur,
That's right.
a captain. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I have my boat license. If you ever need a volunteer and you've got someone who's willing to give a boat, I'm happy to drive people back and forth if you ever need that in the boat. So, yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. So there was something else I was going to say, and I just lost it. Oh, so we have a lot of businesses and business owners that listen to this podcast who are part of the CVABC. The home tour, does that have opportunity for corporate sponsorship as well?
Yes, and our sponsorships have just closed. July 7th was.
So, guys, you missed out.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in looking into more information about sponsorship for the this great event, you can always reach out. You heard the website. You can go there and reach out and get set up for next year and get a jump on next year. So
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, that'd be great.
And it's one of the largest charity events in this area.
It is. It is. So I always see things about it. I'm always somewhere else. I'm like, man, I forgot all about that. But this year I'm gonna make sure that I get there for at least one of the days.
We had over 2,000 people visit last year.
And what's the cost for the tour? Is there a cost or is it?
Yes, there's a tour ticket, and you would ask.
I got you. I got you off guard today.
I think it's $35.
It's not bad.
But it gains you entry into all 8 houses.
Oh, wow.
And you don't have to do all 8 in one day. That's why it's 2.5 days.
Right. That's fantastic.
So you have plenty of time.
So if you're nosy and want to see how other people live, this is a great $35 to go and do the home tour.
Well, it's also a way because all these homes have been remodeled, and you can see, you get ideas if you're getting ready to do a remodel in your own home.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of ideas.
And then you can call REGECO Construction and get them to come help you.
Provided that they're a sponsor.
Provided they're a sponsor, we'll work on that. We'll work on that too. She had to step out, but I'll send her a message and be like, hey.
But Circle Design, they out of Roanoke did the remodel. And
excellent. Who are some of your other big sponsors? Let's give them a shout out while you're here. I'm going to put you really on the spot today.
You are Paul Menschner, State Farm.
Oh, okay.
Bright Star Care.
Okay.
Out of Lynchburg.
Yep. Familiar with
Southern Landscape.
another great company.
Oh, another great company. Gosh. We've got 22 sponsors.
That's fantastic. Is there a specific website for the event, or is
yes,
it?
You can
Let's talk about that.
Yes, Smith Mountain Lake Charity Home Tour. So SML Charity Home Tour. If you Google that,
.com.
Yes, and it'll pop up. You can go on and see all the sponsors. There's a whole page. It lists. It's an excellent way to promote your business.
Yeah.
They get a lot of traffic on that website.
Yeah.
And it's a direct link to the sponsor's website.
Perfect.
And has their logo and everything on certain levels.
That's great. So if you're interested in being a volunteer or being a corporate sponsor or just finding more information about the CVACL and Bedford Rides, you can go to their website and check it out and get more information. So thank you for coming on today.
Yes. Or if you want to volunteer.
Or if you want to volunteer.
Shifts.
Yeah. If you want to volunteer, that's for the home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. So lots of opportunity here to give back to your community. I love it. So thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you coming on and giving your time for that. And it's been a lot of fun. So if you want more information about Centerfest or Battle of the Bands, anything like that, I think we are still looking for some more bands for Battle of the Bands. I'm not sure. If I'm wrong, we'll blame Heather because she's not here. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you next week. And if you want more information on anything that was talked about today, you can go to cvabc.org or the Grove Street FM app.